A quick reminder before we get started, we have a happy hour this Thursday, July 11th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the Royce in downtown Detroit. That's over by Grand Circus Park. I will put a link to Eventbrite in our show notes, or, well, you can search there for Daily Detroit. But as I said, I'll put a link in the show notes. Come have some wine, drinks of your choice. Let's chat and have a good time. I cannot wait to see you there. Hey there, and welcome back from the holiday weekend. I am Jer Stays, and this is your Daily Detroit for Monday, July 8th, 2024. You know, Detroit's companies of yesteryear leave an impact today. For instance, the Hudson Weber Foundation has roots to the Hudson's department store of old, with the founder's family focus on charity and origins back to 1939. Foundations like Hudson Weber have a huge impact in the city. They're sources of money and logistical resources that make up gaps left by the fact that Detroit's average household income is about half of what the rest of the region is, and there are a lot of downstream effects from that as well. So if you care about the future here, it's important to know what that community is up to. To look at one facet of that world, on today's podcast, I'm joined by recently installed CEO Donald Rencher of that aforementioned Hudson Weber Foundation. I caught up with him at the Mackinac Policy Conference. We get into the challenges of addressing inequities, the future of the workforce in the face of technological advancements, the importance of investing in neighborhoods to help make them desirable places to live, plus the critical role of arts and culture in maintaining Detroit's authenticity and the need for safe communities. But before we get started, Daily Detroit is brought to you in part by Your Best Choice Roofing. In my mind, there's one choice for roofing around here, and I'd go with Your Best Choice. That's because Daily Detroit is brought to you in part by your Metro Detroit Best Choice Roofing. Whether it's time to replace your roof, repair it, inspect it, or get your gutters cleaned, Best Choice Roofing provides top-notch roofing services tailored to meet the unique needs of Detroit homes and businesses. They serve the region and inside the city of Detroit, too. Find out more at bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit. That's bestchoiceroofing.com/Detroit, or call 313-474-7031. That's 313-474-7031. Joining me at the table at the Grand Hotel at the Mackinac Policy Conference is Donald Rencher, President and CEO of the Hudson-Webber Foundation, who has had their hands in a number of great projects. Donald, welcome to Daily Detroit.
Thank you so much for inviting me here. It's a pleasure. Thanks.
Of course. Now, I'm interested to talk to you because I think there's an important role for philanthropy to play in everything that's happening. And to be honest, in a lot of ways, it may not feel like it on the outside, but in a lot of ways, this is a time of transition, and there's opportunity with that.
Absolutely. Before I came into philanthropy, I used to work for the city of Detroit. I was a group executive over housing planning and development. And we had a lot of projects, but I always remember whenever we wanted to do something outside the box or do something really transformational, it was the foundation community that really came together as a group to help support those ideas and things. So whether it was the Detroit Housing for the Future Fund, where we really focus on affordable housing opportunities and neighborhoods around the city, or as the Strategic Neighborhood Fund, which I also help manage on the city level to invest in the neighborhoods outside of the downtown area. It was philanthropy who really came together to really put a lot of fire underneath that to push those investments. And I couldn't be more happy being here with the Hudson Weber Foundation. I've been here for 3 months, and I really think there's an opportunity for philanthropy to continue to have a role, especially in the transition. I think a lot of people are nervous and wondering who the next leader of the city of Detroit will be and how we will really focus on the continued growth of the city of Detroit. But I think we have an opportunity to follow some of the transformational projects that have come to the city, whether it's the Ford train station, the Henry Ford Hospital, the University of Michigan Innovation Center. We already have like a pathway to follow investment. We just have to do it inclusively, and we have to make sure our Detroit residents feel part of the growth. But we need to attract more residents and bring our economic growth and activity. We need to really put some fire underneath it and grow as a city.
So for you, why is it important to attract more residents? You know, there's the news. Not only did we stop population dropping,
right,
but we grew a little. But there are a lot of places around the country that are growing a lot.
Right.
Why is it important for Detroit to grow? Because I think there is some there's some wondering, out there, like, why do we need to do this? Why do we need to change?
For so many reasons. Number one, it's an area that you can look at to really show if your city is improving, right? If the more you're putting your city in a place where people love to live, you'll have more people who want to live there. You're not going to leak population. People leave the city of Detroit because they believe that they can get or seek opportunities elsewhere. And so to retain our Detroit residents are important. So the stopping the leak, so the stopping the reduction of the population is very important. But we also want to be a beacon of hope because the city of Detroit has always been that through history as a city that's super important in our nation, as a place where there's opportunity. And so as we seek and have opportunity here in the city, we want to know that the city of Detroit is big enough for everybody to come and everybody to raise their family. And so it's important, the metric to go after. But also you have more taxpayers who put money and revenue into the city, and so we can provide better resources to our residents. So it's extremely important to grow the city.
Well, and you had a front row seat to a lot of that, working in the city.
I did. And you notice how I remember when the mayor first ran and I hadn't started working for the city yet, and he said, judge me on our population growth. He knew that was the most important metric to show the healthiness of what he's been doing for the city of Detroit. So it's vitally important.
Well, but part of that growth is addressing some of the inequities that are out there right now.
That's
and
right.
one of the challenges is with that is that those inequities, yes, they're in Detroit, but they're also in America.
100%.
And so it's interesting to me because I wish there was a national push to address some of these things. It would have been easier with national resources maybe, but I feel like oftentimes we're kind of on our own.
Yeah.
And having to figure it out piece by piece.
And that's where that flexibility that you need with funding and investment coming from philanthropy is really important to be that solid piece there that will always be there to help invest into some of these ideas. I think people love to see the city of Detroit grow. We've had, of course, the draft, and other people outside of the city know that the Detroit is almost like this beacon of hope that people can follow. But we just want to continue to move off of that desire to grow as a city and improve people's lives every day.
Now you're newish into this position.
Yeah,
I guess.
like
Newish.
3 months in.
Yeah. What are some of the goals that you have that you're coming into this thing where it's like, hey, this is something that I really am passionate about?
You know that growth is a solid foundation of what I would like to see for the future of Detroit. But my background has been in affordable housing. And so if we're going to grow the city, we want to make sure that we're not losing residents and and everybody has an opportunity to live at all different types of income spectrums, right? And it's really important as we're trying to get young people, nationally, young people feel that they're outside of the housing market and don't have an opportunity to start a family and buy a home, right? We want to make it available for folks to have an opportunity to live in neighborhoods and really start wealth producing for themselves and their families. And I think that's important. So inclusive growth is a major part of what I want to see. But also the economy is changing and the workforce is changing. You're going to see technology and computers doing a lot of the jobs. So how do we prepare our residents of the future? As you see, the Michigan Innovation Center came to the city of Detroit, it's not going to only connect students who go to the University of Michigan to have opportunity to really practice being in the field in the city of Detroit, but it's also a way to connect our residents to those opportunities, to train them to get prepared for this future workforce. And so I'm really excited about that. Previously, my successor, Malinka Clark, was really focused on criminal justice reform. So I'm really excited to continue that work to go forward because we want to have safe communities too, right? The mayor even talked about in his discussion yesterday about how crime has reduced significantly in the city of Detroit, and we highlighted our chief in that conversation, but people want to know that they're safe every day as well. So those are things that I'm really excited about to get into. And of course, our arts and culture pillar, because Detroit has a long, rich history, not only in the arts, but our culture, and recognizing that. And everything that we do, there's always a desire to make sure it's really Detroit, right?
Yeah.
Because
I think that's part of that fear. Circling back to the idea of growth.
Yes.
How do we grow without losing who we are?
That's exactly it. It has to be authentically Detroit. You have to focus on Black people still. I mean, we have an 85% Black city. And so it's really important to make sure that Black folks feel that they're a part of this growth as well, and that we don't lose who we are. But we do need more people here. What I say all the time, with all these, with the Joe Louis Greenway, with our riverfront, with these larger investments, billion-dollar investments, where people will come and work and play here. But what you don't want to have is them getting in their car and leaving.
Yeah.
That's what I want to make sure we don't. And to get them not to leave, we got to create neighborhoods and opportunities in which they feel they want to live.
Well, and also address some of the cost structures.
100%.
Because that's one thing that, it's great that there is so much progress around crime and safety. And it was a very touching conversation between Mayor Mike Duggan and Chief James White about all the work. And I think that it's been a breath of fresh air to see him and his mental health background and all that other stuff. It's great.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, what I hear from people is, listen, like I went to Farmington Hills or whatever because things cost so much.
Yes.
Right. And I've got a family and I've got things I got to take care of.
Right. It's like if I can spend a lot less on my living every day, if I feel like the educational system that I'm putting my kid in is solid, then that's where I'm going to go. If I feel that I can let my kid out and ride his bike around the neighborhood and feel like it's safe for them. Like those are the things that will keep people safe. And they're the same things that everyday Detroit residents want too.
Yeah.
Improving the life of residents is really, I think, circulated around creating neighborhoods. It's often said that you can tell the future of somebody based on where they live. And so we can improve the space in which where they live, we can actually improve residents' lives. And so that's really what I'm interested in getting in that work.
Well, sure. And, when people are growing up and what they see around them forms what they think they can be.
Yes, 100%.
If you're in a neighborhood where the lawns aren't cut or the sidewalks dirt or, you know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Not the whole city is obviously like it's very much different things in different parts of the city.
Yes.
But it does impact what you think you can do and who you think you can be and 100%. What your perception of yourself is.
100%. I used to say when I was younger, I remember my father lives in New York and I would see this other world and it was bigger and it was faster and you can achieve great things. And you're like, and it really helps me think through what my future could be. Just because there was a different perspective and I wasn't essentially going to be held into, because I'm from Battle Creek, Michigan. I wasn't going to be held in this smaller space. I knew there was a larger world out there and that people just didn't have the picture of that larger world. But I can tell you that Detroit residents right now, I think they see that there's a focus on them, but they also see that there's a growth and opportunity that the city of Detroit is having. I mean, we have this moment in time that I really think we need to use as a catalyst for our future.
And well, why don't we take a quick minute and kind of unpack affordable housing a little bit because it's something that's so important to you.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of the conversation, especially online, is often about the absolute lowest dollar part of the market because of the average household income of Detroiters.
Right.
But I think this affordable housing piece is much more complicated than that. Like we need that too.
Yes.
But also, hey, you make $60,000 a year and you can stay here and live all right.
Right. No, that's,
you know what I mean?
Like
right. I think affordable housing is a wider spectrum, although that doesn't get the social media clicks, right? Because you want to, and obviously I want to help people too.
Right.
But it's a spectrum. It's not just one thing.
100%. I feel like that's really, really well said because I think that usually gets lost in translation. Affordable housing to me, when I was in my position, and I think continued in the people that took my place, is you're not paying more than 30% of your income on housing, no matter what your income is. Mm-hmm. And so you need various levels of those things, or people are going to find, if they can't find it, they're going to go somewhere else to get it.
Is part of addressing this supply?
Yes.
And so how do we get there? Because that seems like a big gap.
It's not only supply, but like there's affordable housing everywhere in the city of Detroit. Everywhere except for like 2 or 3 places, like downtown, close to the riverfront, maybe midtownish. But there's affordable housing everywhere. But do people actually want to live in those units? Like it's like, I used to work in Brightmoor, for instance. So there's going to be affordable housing in Brightmoor, but are people clamoring to live in Brightmoor?
Right. I mean, my co-host grew up in Brightmoor.
Exactly. And the thing is, what we have to do is create and invest into those neighborhoods and create and provide the amenities in those neighborhoods, because that's where some of the affordable housing is. And so it's not only the lack of production. So we're trying to figure out, what ways that we can build and develop housing cheaper and faster, which that technology is actually helping and improving that. But we also have to invest in our neighborhoods where there are affordable housing units, but not necessarily in areas people want to live because the lack of amenities and other investments, whether it's green space or the commercial corridors, those are the things that we have to actively participate in, creating space and opportunities for people to thrive. And so,
Well, Donald Rencher, I really appreciate you stopping by. I hope this is not our last conversation.
I hope so. I hope not. Yeah, I would love to do it again. I can tell that you know a lot about Detroit and you care about it too, and I do too. And so, I would love another conversation for sure.
All right, that is it for today. I hope you got something out of this episode. Feedback, as always, dailydetroit@gmail.com. If you really want to support us, local support helps this keep going. Become a member, patreon.com/dailydetroit. That's patreon.com/dailydetroit. Until tomorrow, I am Jer Stays. Remember that you are somebody, and I'll see you around Detroit.